What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Geek Weekly podcast, and welcome if you are new. Thank you so much for listening and being here. I'm your host, Lesley, and today's very special guest is the lovely Venya Gunjal. Hi, Venya. How are you?
Hi, Leslie. I'm good. Thank you for inviting me onto this. That's really sweet of you. I'm excited.
Thank you for being here. I'm really excited. All
I've
right,
never done a podcast thingy before, though, so this is
that's
very new.
cool.
I
That's
like it.
cool. All right. Venya is actually the founder and the president of this organization called Steam Park Inc. So, Venya, I wanted to ask you, what exactly is Steam Park Inc.? What's its purpose?
Yeah, of course. So Steam Park Inc. is basically it's a registered 501(c)(3), which is a nonprofit organization. And what we do is we make science, technology, engineering, art, and math activities
Hmm.
more accessible to all elementary students. Because the thing about like these fields is that it's really harder in today's world to get into them unless you've had a foundation. And some people naturally they may not have the resources or the location necessary to give them that status, that
Hmm.
foundation. And so our organization, it involves high schoolers into helping this in their area. So we have an ambassador system, and what they do is high school students are the ambassadors, and they lead like workshops and activities and little camps over the summer, maybe and stuff for these students to do so they can be interested in them, or they can just be like a fun hobby for them. Honestly, it's all about the exposure for sure.
Yeah, that's that's really interesting. Like, I absolutely love that because there are some counties in Georgia that are more ag related, less steam related, or that there's like the county that I'm from is very tech related, less agriculture related.
Yeah, and people aren't going to have exposure to the less represented fields unless someone helps them, right?
Exactly.
So that's the goal. We're kind of the help. We help them get the exposure that they need and see if it's maybe something they're interested in because they're never going to know if they don't try.
Exactly. I love that. That's so cool.
Thank you.
Okay, another question I have is what is it that you find most rewarding about leadership in 4-H?
I definitely feel like getting a leadership position has helped me know more of the people that I'm representing because I was elected specifically if you're talking about my current position as state president. I met most of the people when I was campaigning.
Hmm.
A lot of them I'd known over my years in 4-H, but that experience of asking them to choose me to represent them, that really helped me know more of the body that I was getting to represent. And I got to know all the interests they have and all the kinds of stuff that they do within 4-H and outside of 4-H. So that's definitely been one of the most rewarding experiences. Like just the people and everything they have to offer and everything they can do is amazing.
I love that. I love that. It is really cool. I can imagine when you're campaigning, you get to go up to all of these people and you get to know them. And then if you get elected on, you get to have this whole board term.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like, of course, there's the people who I'm serving with,
Hmm.
but like I said, there's so much more opportunity to know so many people who I'm representing. So
Hmm.
I say that's my biggest favorite.
I love that. I love that answer. That's a really good answer.
Thank you.
All right. Oh, what are the responsibilities of being the president of the state board at Georgia 4-H?
So of course there's like the assembly responsibilities. So we lead the assembly and we greet these people who are coming as guests to 4-H events and coming to speak to us. And there's also attending meetings outside. So planning meetings, we have them on Zoom. I believe before the COVID year, they were in person, I think. Like it was planning weekends. And then
Hmm.
after COVID, they kind of got like the tech side figured out and they're like, "Oh, we don't even have to call everyone like from all over the state to this one place for an entire weekend. We can
Yeah.
just have a couple hours every month to help plan." And then at the planning meetings, we usually just talk about like state 4-H events and stuff like the logistics. And
Hmm.
then at the events, we of course execute our plan from the meetings. And we write lots of thank you notes, lots of thank you notes. But that's as in any, even district board, we wrote thank you notes.
Hmm.
Junior board, we wrote thank you notes. So that's definitely carried over. And yeah, I also one thing I didn't think about as much, like, is the eating part, like where you have to sit in a banquet and like learn etiquette and stuff. I remembered some of it from senior board, and then at our GOT we discussed it again, and I was like, oh my gosh, from last GOT to this off state officer training, I just completely forgotten it. So
Yeah.
that's like the little things that I completely wasn't expecting.
Yeah, that's really cool though. Like that they teach you all the etiquette and stuff.
Yeah, they got everything covered. There's so much that I'm probably like not even mentioning right now,
Mhm.
but there's definitely a lot of stuff you can do for
Mhm.
sure.
Alright. So in Georgia 4-H, there is this little thing called District Project Achievement, for those of you who do not know. And it is a year-round project, and it is you make this portfolio, and it's for junior. So there's clover leaves in Georgia 4-H, which is fourth through sixth graders, and you'll just make a speech. But for juniors and seniors, which is seventh through 12th graders, you have to make a portfolio and a speech. And there's categories, and then you go and compete at your district. And then if you're in high school, um, you can go to state congress if you win. So I wanted to ask you, Venya, what is your DPA project on this year?
So this year I'm competing in the health category. And
Mhm.
so that's like healthy living and physical activity and also the medicine side. So I just about finished my portfolio, I think last week. I'm waiting on a couple of people to send me in pictures and then I should be good to submit it.
Mhm.
But in terms of what I'm speaking about, I have a couple topics in mind. I haven't really narrowed it down to one. Like last year, I spoke about good calories and bad calories.
Yeah.
So how the calories from like a glass of milk are definitely not the same as the same amount of calories from like a candy bar, just because for the candy bar, there's very different supplements of nutrition that come from that versus the supplements that come from milk. And so it was just deconstructing the stigma and like some of the negative beliefs that a lot of people have about calories because it's really easy to like read one piece of misinformation and then have the wrong mindset for like the longest amount of time. So
Mhm.
that was what it was about last year. I'm thinking about carrying it over into this one just cuz I have the presentation ready, so I could totally go for it. Or I could find a medical topic because medicine is like related to biology, which I'm really into. So that's also a possibility. But yeah, I think the reason that I switched from food for health and sport to health was probably because I had a lot more stuff in this portfolio just because it added medical stuff to it. And I
Yeah.
do a lot more in like medical stuff too. So of course there's the healthy living and like teaching stuff at libraries. And then I had this whole other aspect I could add to it. So
I find that
yeah.
really interesting that you get to add the a whole different like aspect to it.
It's still in like the healthy living pillar, but it counts as a different category. So I was like, okay, I'll go for it because
Yeah.
that sounds perfectly in my niche.
Yeah. That's awesome. So have you mastered in anything in your whole 4-H career? And if
I have
so,
mastered.
mhm.
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I interrupt
No,
you?
no,
You
you're
can
good.
go
You're
ahead.
good. No, no,
Okay.
I was done. I was just gonna ask you, and if so, what category?
So going off of project achievement, which is what we were talking about a couple minutes ago, I mastered my freshman year, which was the first time I went to state congress. And that year, my category was environmental science. And fun fact, that was environmental science was the first project category I ever participated in way back when I started 4-H in fifth grade. So, like doing it again in my freshman year, I was like, oh, this is so cute, like reminiscing. And then I mastered it, and I was like, this is neat stuff. And
Yeah, that's
so
such like a little full circle, like a full circle moment.
fifth grade me would have been like, I didn't even know what state congress was. Fifth grade, I think the only 4-H thing I did was project achievement because I found out about it later in the year because of the 4-H agents visits and stuff, or my program assistants visits. So that was the only thing I did. Sixth grade, I got a lot more involved, but and then 5 years later, like participating in the environmental science is just like you're right, a full circle. And then, so part of the mastering is I'm not sure if everyone who's listening to this knows, but if you master, you of course get master status, and then you go to an event called National 4-H Congress later that year in November. And so it's always held in Atlanta because that I think it's been like that for a while. It used to be in Chicago and like all over, and then they decided to keep it in Atlanta. So you go to downtown Atlanta for a week and you attend workshops and you meet other people from across the country and you learn about like how different and similar their 4-H programs are compared to ours, which I think is really neat. They have like stuff at the Atlanta History Museum and like themed nights and stuff. It's so cool, so cute. You should definitely shoot for it, whoever is listening to this.
Yes. My dream is to go to National Congress.
Oh, you will. You will. You got this, girl. Rooting for you.
Thank you. I also at SRTLC, which is Southern Regional Teen Leadership Conference, is also another one where I got to learn about different states and how they do 4-H. Very different, I
I
will
was
say.
shocked. Yeah, like it's the same. You'd think it would be the same thing
Hmm.
because they're all part of National 4-H, but very different. And the
It's
way they select is different too for National Congress. So
mhm.
worthwhile experience.
It is truly a dream, like a little 4-H little like bucket list. It's definitely up
Yes,
there.
for sure. It was on mine. I found out about it my 8th grade year, and that was when
Mhm.
I started planning for it. And it worked out. So
It did work out. Um, yeah, but no, like the states are extremely different. Like I at when we were at SRTLC, I was talking to like people from like Arkansas, and like they have more like ag based, whereas we have ag, but we also have STEM and healthy living and and like their project achievement is also different. And like a small little thing is they call their portfolio, like different states call their portfolios like record books, which I learned about. Hmm.
know that. That's something new.
It is. It's cool, and it's definitely it was really cool to like get to learn about the different states.
Yeah, that was actually part of my favorite part of national conference, like all the people and stuff. And we have it as the public speaking competition as a qualifier to go. But some of them is like an application process. So you have to apply and then you interview. Kind of like how it is for national conference for us.
Hmm.
They do that, but for national congress. So
Oh,
that is,
interesting.
yes, it's kind of different. And maybe they do it for national conference, like they have the same procedure. Who knows?
Yeah.
Um, oh, right. So the question was masters. See, I got so backtracked. I'm
you're
sorry.
you're good. Don't
I
worry
just got
about it.
into like this loop of project achievement, state congress, national conference, so many different 4-H programs. Oh
There's a
my
lot.
gosh.
There's so
Yes.
many.
But yes, so that was my very no, that was my second one actually. Earlier that fall, my agent, she told me like, "Oh, we're having this thing called food challenge." And a couple of my friends who were seniors who'd graduated the year before, they did it. Obviously they graduated and they would have been on the team, but they couldn't be on it anymore.
Hmm.
She was like, "You're a freshman now, so you're eligible to do this. Do you want to do food challenge?" And I was like, "Yeah, what is it?" And so what it is it's basically my year it was virtual, but you have to cook a meal and then you have to present to judges about its nutritional qualities and like how it addresses the theme. So they usually have a theme, I believe. So how it addresses the theme and how it contains the key ingredient and the food safety practices that you use when you're prepping it. So
Oh.
we never got to make it for our state competition just because it was like on Zoom. So we had to design a meal. We didn't actually make it.
Hmm.
But the thing about that one is, if I remember correctly, there's a district contest, and then the top 2 or 3 teams from district go to state, and they do the same thing but with a different like theme or prompt, and then they qualify from there. First place goes to nationals, second place, and so on. So kind of like a standard 4-H achievement thing.
Yeah.
So that was my first one, like fall of 2020, I think it was, and then I went over environmental science. And then the night that I started running for state 4-H presidency at state council,
Hmm.
I came in like at like 10 or something in the morning. Or not 10, it was more like in the afternoon. So I came in to Rock Eagle like a lot earlier, and that was because I had my Dean's Award interview.
Mm.
So what Dean's Award is, it's kind of like making a portfolio, but what you do is you make a portfolio of everything you've done in like from for me it was from 5th grade. For some people it'll be 4th grade depending on when they started. But you make a portfolio of every single thing you've done in 4-H and like relevant to your pillar for like everything. And so they release like I think sample portfolios of people who've done it before, and they have like picture pages and stuff. So it's kind of like Project Achievement at State Congress where you have the portfolio, but you're
Yeah.
not speaking. You just make a portfolio and then you interview,
Hmm.
and they select 4 or 5 people for based on applications. So you submit your application, the top 4 or 5 application scores are then selected to come interview at state council. So you come in early, which is what I did, and then you interview. And then that night you find out like first, second, and third. First place gets the master, and I think second and third, like it's the standard thing where you get the medal
Hmm.
and then you get the certificates and stuff. So that was my
That's really
third
cool.
one. Yeah.
I've been meaning to ask somebody about Dean's Ward because that is
You
something
should
that
go for it.
I've been looking into.
Yeah, it's definitely worth it. Like, I think I submitted my application because school is out. So
Mhm.
I found out about it, I think in May, and I submitted my application like while I was in Florida or something, like at the beach or something. So that was when I submitted my application. Like, I was just going through my pictures and like finding stuff while I was relaxing, and it was I had good memories associated with it for me.
Well, I'm glad that you have good memories associated with
Yes.
it.
That was an experience because I think I was working on it on, like, the 6 or 7 hour drive there, and
Hmm.
then while we were in the hotel and, like, relaxing and stuff, so
Yeah.
and then oh, and actually in December that was the last one. In December, I found out that I was selected to be a national conference delegate. And so what that is it's an application, but it's not like a Dean's Award application. So you have like prompts and questions and stuff. And I think they released the prompts on the 4-H website for anyone who's interested. So if you're planning on applying for it next year, I would definitely go and see what this year's prompts were so you can practice. So what it is you go and you fill out the application and you have to write an essay. Like for us, I'm 90% sure it was what 4-H means to me. So you have to write about like what it meant to you and like how you've grown and your story and all that and your activities. And I think I talked more about like my personal growth through it, like how my life was transformed, like how it would not be the same without it.
Hmm.
And so, anyways, you submit that application, and then each district has 2 people who are selected, no, 3 people who are selected top applications, and then no, I was right. It's 2 people who are selected for the top application scores,
Hmm.
and then 3 people at large are selected to go interview. And so they interview at the fall forum event, which is our like December 4-H reunion sort of thing.
Hmm.
And that's when they interview. And at that interview, I think the application at the interview is only 10% of your whole score. So that part is more based on like your confidence and like how sure you are of what your application was and what you submitted. And just like, I guess they're not, when I was in the interview, they were the people who I had were like really nice, and they're not trying to eliminate you. They're trying to hear why they should select you. So they're rooting for you. You need to make sure that you tell them why, you know.
Yeah.
That's the biggest tip that I'd have for the interview. Cause to be honest, a couple like I'd heard of like there's being like other counties whose agents they had national conference delegates who gone before, and so they brought those people back to interview. I'm pretty sure that I was, or like this year's group of people was the first or second to apply from my county ever. So I don't think we had anyone who'd ever gone to National 4-H conference.
Oh,
And so,
really?
yeah, I was surprised too because I think it's been around for a while. We never did it. It's okay. We caught up eventually, so that's good. So, yeah, so I'd never had like the interview practice or anything. So they released sample interview questions and they were like, these are the questions that we give to the interview judges, and then they can ask from this and they can like throw in a couple of their own. So when I was practicing for the interview, I really just like looked at those questions and I made up like practice responses that I would say if they were asked me that. But I never had like an official interview practice. And so I think that the reason it helped me was because when I went in, it wasn't really like me being so stressed. I wasn't stressed at all. Everyone who's like around me at the time of the interview, they were like, she was so calm. And that's just because after the interview, I was nervous because I wasn't nervous for the interview before. Like I was like,
Really?
yeah, because I felt like I'd just gone in and I just like, I just
Yeah,
treating it too casually because it's a really big deal, I
it
should
is.
normally remember my freshman year when I was for the state congress interview, I was a little bit nervous for that. But for national conference, I wasn't really nervous at all. And so I went in, I just talked to them about like the questions they asked me. And afterwards, I was like, whoa, I just did it. And I didn't have like a single ounce of like, oh my gosh, I need to practice or I need to like look over interview questions again. So that was the reason I was nervous until that night. And
Mhm.
then, of course, like, I found out that I got it and everything. But I was like, maybe it's a good thing to worry, but not to the extent where you're, like, hyper
Panicking.
fixated. Yes,
Yeah, like
that's good.
hyperfixating, panicking.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely would not recommend. Because it worked for me at least. Like, just go for it. Because you don't know yourself better. Like, no one knows you better than you do, right? So if
Yeah.
they're gonna ask you about yourself, then why are you worried? Like, you just answer honestly, and they're
Mhm.
gonna love you for who you are. So,
Exactly. No,
yes.
that's really cool. Did you so it's national conference. That's the one in April that you and Arshay got picked for, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yes. That was such a proud moment that I got to have for y'all.
Oh,
Literally, no, because it was so cool because it's you and your sister.
I know. It'll be like I think yeah, it's in DC, right? She was
Hmm.
telling me how it'll be like a DC trip or something. Cause I don't know if there's ever been siblings who have gone in the same year. Maybe there has been, but at least as long as I've been a senior, I don't think there has been. So she
Hmm.
was telling me about that, and I was like, "That's such a neat little note. Oh my gosh!"
It
But
is. It's really so cool that like it's like this sibling duo that gets to go.
yeah, we were definitely very happy, very very happy. And like even if I didn't get it, I wasn't like I was like, I still have next year. I'm not a senior or anything. So it's not like
Yeah,
it's my last year or anything. And even if it was my last year and I didn't get it, I wouldn't be too bummed because it would be a great experience for everyone who did get to go. And if I didn't get to go, I'm sure that I would still enjoy my time in Georgia in April. Like I definitely have a group of people around me or family or something who'd still make it worthwhile.
exactly.
No matter how anything ends up, it'll always be okay. Always, always.
Exactly. I yeah. I did have a question about national conference before we talk about anything else.
Yeah.
It's something I fully didn't understand. Maybe it was because the fall forum was
Go for it, girl.
a lot of fun. I was a little tired when they were announcing all of that. They announced four other people. It was Bethany, Lauren, Jackson, and Hannah, right?
Yes.
Did they got so are they going as well or are they alternates?
So basically there are two alternates who are selected, and so they go in case any of the people who mastered or like any of the people who selected can. And then the
Mhm.
six people on stage, they are going. So
Okay.
it's one from each district and then two overall like winners who had the highest scores on the interview and application.
Okay. Okay. That is what I fully didn't understand because okay. Okay, that makes so much more sense now. Thank you.
Yes, no, because I didn't know how they were gonna select based on interviews until after I'd given my interview. Like, I didn't know that like the quota for each district or anything.
Hmm.
No, wait, I knew the night before. I think that was when I found out because some people were talking about it who were also interviewing. And I was like, oh, that's pretty neat because I had
Yeah.
no idea. I was just there.
I love that three people from Northwest are getting to go.
Yes, way to represent Northwest.
Exactly. We're being very
Yes,
represented at DC this year.
yes. And I think we have three on state board too. Yeah, we have three on state board.
Yeah.
Last year was just Kaylee, and so I think that's definitely a bump up for sure.
Hmm. I think it's four on state board, right?
It's me, Hannah, and Kareem. And then Northeast has three too. Or
Hmm.
no. Yes, no?
Going to DC, there were 6 of y'all. It was you, Arashea, Jackson, I'm pretty sure Bethany, Hannah, and Lauren, right?
Yes.
So that yeah. Yeah.
Maybe I'm counting it wrong. I don't know. Or I also forget people's districts, so that's probably
I
a
do
reason.
too.
Yeah,
I do too, constantly.
that's probably it, because I do that a lot. Or like I mix up the north, so someone could be from northeast, and I'll think, or like I'll mix up like the front part, so I think they're from
Mhm.
southeast. I need to get better at that.
Trust me, I'm so confused. Literally, somebody texted me the other day. They're like, "Oh, I can't wait to see you at DPA." They're from South. They're from Southeast, and I'm like, I wish.
Yes, no, it's hard to keep up, but I'm just glad that I remember their names at least, because I'm more of
Yeah,
like a face person.
me
I'll
too.
remember if I see someone's face, I'll remember every conversation, every interaction we've had. Like, I remember people from my kindergarten class who probably don't even know I exist, but I still like remember them and like how we were friends and everything we did at recess and like PE and everything. I have everything down to the dot. For the life of me, I'll have to go back to that kindergarten yearbook and find their name just so I have a name associated with that face.
I
So,
love that. That's so. Oh, okay. Oh,
what happened?
oh my God! Wait, what happened? It took me. Zoom is trying to get me to pay for something. Hold on. What is going on?
Oh no.
Oh my God, wait. Okay, back to meeting. Okay. It says we have like 10 minutes, but we can only start another meeting and then I can edit them
Okay,
together.
perfect. Yeah, that works.
All right. So, Venya and I are both Georgia 4-H ambassadors. And in Georgia 4-H, there's 5 different tracks of ambassadorship. Venya, would you like to explain the 5 different ones?
Um, yes, so I'm a STEM ambassador. Lesley is a pollinator ambassador. They have a wildlife ambassador, a healthy living ambassador, and a tech ambassador. I
Mhm.
was not sure if I'd remember all of those, but that's good.
I
Like,
forgot wildlife. I forgot wildlife.
yes, because wildlife was the one, at least for STEM, they were doing like an activity with us. So that's how I remembered them. Anyways, back to the topic. So there's 5 ambassadors, and ambassadors, what they do is they have to submit an application and then they're selected. And you attend like an ambassador training, which is over the summer, and it's really pretty, and it's like summertime in Rock Eagle, and you get to meet up with everyone.
Mhm.
But that's what you do. And they basically teach you like how to be an ambassador. And what an ambassador does is they complete 6 learning and 6 sharing activities. So, learning activities are like stuff you do for yourself to educate yourself about your specific discipline. So, like maybe you'd interview a professional in your field. So, like if I'm in STEM, then I'd be interviewing maybe a medical doctor or something, or a professor who knows a lot about medicine or biotechnology or something. And like for Lesley, she's a pollinator ambassador. So she could email like a manager at a honey farm or a beekeeper or someone in her community who is connected to bees or pollination directly. And
Exactly.
so yeah, it's very like broad. Like I feel like the learning part is you could like read a book and that would count as learning
The
activity.
learning part is so like chill in my opinion. Like I've
You can do
already
it on a
done
road trip or anything. Yeah.
exactly. You can just read like a little article that you found in like a newspaper, or you can be very like it could be anywhere from like, oh, there's this book I'm gonna read to, oh, I'm gonna go talk to somebody at like one of the master gardeners in your county.
Yeah.
Like it's very you can do anything.
That's what I like about it. You don't have to do too much planning. Like you just come across stuff. And a lot of it, I know for you, like maybe in your biology units at school, you'll probably cover something about bees or pollination. That would go in it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm taking chemistry, and part of our units were like related to like enzymes and cells and stuff and those chemical reactions. So if I wanted to, I could totally put that in STEM and
Yeah.
or like in general, anything. Those classes and stuff count too. So that's the learning activities.
Mm-hmm.
And then sharing activities are where you go and you take like the knowledge you got from your ambassador training and you go ahead and you like apply it into the community. So me and my sister, we both are STEM ambassadors, my sister Shea. And so we lead classes in the Cobb County Public Library system that are related to STEM or like engineering, science, and we do the activities and then we explain the science part. And so think we have one this month actually. We had some over the summer and we had some last semester. And so the goal is basically for kindergarten through second grade students and third through fifth grade students. Those are our main age groups. But I think that you can educate pretty much anyone. Like we can lead a high school workshop for sure, or a middle school workshop.
Hmm.
And anything basically that's you sharing what you know about STEM or pollination or your field in the master system with other people. So yeah.
I think you explained it very well, Venya. Something that I'm doing for my ambassadorship personally, um, I actually taught at Cloverleaf Conference, which was fun. I made these two boards, and then the kids would ask me any questions. And then I'd play this little game that I made that we actually played at the ambassadors training. And you have like these flowers, like on like it can be like a paper flower on the back of a chair. And then you have this bucket of like pollen and it's crumpled up yellow paper. And you have to see who can go back and forth and get it. And you have to wear these oven mitts. But you have to act like a pollinator when you go up and get it. So there's typically teams. So there's like teams of three, like there's bees, like bats, and like we'll say butterflies. And you have to like act like the pollinator and you have to do it. And then whoever wins gets bragging rights is typically what I say. They always ask me for candy. I don't have candy.
It's always good to keep some on stock, but I never remember either.
But like it's oh, what was I about to say?
That activity is so cute, by the way. Just a shout out. That is a really good idea.
Thank you. It's fun. Like I think if I'm not mistaken, in the next 2 months or something, I think I'm gonna plan something with my agent and try and work on. I'm probably gonna teach like some clover leaves, which in 4-H is fourth through sixth graders, and just play that little game with them. But my favorite thing is it also teaching these classes actually helps build your confidence with public speaking, which is something that I have been working on. Um, and it really helps because like for instance, anyone will tell you that was there. My first class, you could kind of tell I was like very anxious and I was not very I don't know.
It's
But
okay, it happens. The first time is always a test run for you and for the kids.
but the kids they really enjoyed it. And then the second class, they were this group of kids were insane. Like they were way more like hyper and I was literally like we were all like screaming into a microphone. Like I think
Oh
we
my
were like we were in like the international no. We were in Hastings. And you know like the podium? It was where we had the Northwest Assembly. And the kids would come up and they would ask questions into the mic and then I would answer them. It was fun.
Whoa. That's insane. But I feel like it makes sense that would happen, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, but no, I think being a Georgia 4-H ambassador it is a true privilege, and it is definitely something I've quite enjoyed. The ambassador's training was actually my first event without anybody from my county, so I was kind of
Really?
stressed about that. Yeah, because going into it, I felt like I was like, because I knew like you and Hannah and like Olivia and like Macy and Mia and Zoe. So I was going into it like, okay, I know a couple people because I
You
know
have a
Kareem.
circle. You have a circle. That's what matters.
Mhm. And I was going into it because there was somebody from my county was gonna do it, but it was Kareem and he just couldn't. So I was like, okay, nobody from my county. I can do this. We can do this, guys. But it turned out to be literally one of the best weekends of the past year.
It turned out great, yeah. And that was where I
Mhm.
actually got to know you like a lot better.
Yeah.
So a plus for me too.
Because I was really excited to like get to know you better because like I had met you at DPA, but I was excited to like, oh, I actually get to like see her.
I have this picture from DPA this year,
Hmm.
and we were actually sitting like at the same table for lunch or something, and someone took a picture, and that's our first ever picture together.
And
And I found
I
it a couple
love it.
months ago, and I was like, that is so cute.
I remember that because uh JC, she was talking to us all, and I was like, could you take a picture of everybody here? Because it was like me and my county, and it was like, and then Hannah and Bella, and then you were in it too. And I was like, oh my God. And like Lexi was in there too. It was
I was
so,
just there, yeah.
it was so perfect. I loved it so much. It's literally
That's
like,
happy.
That was my wallpaper for a while. It was so I
Oh,
loved having because it was cool. It was like my first like group picture without, you know. Um
really good. Yeah, I still have it. I found it a couple months ago, and I was just smiling. Like, it feels like it was so long ago. It's been almost a year,
Mhm.
actually. But
Jeez, that is so no, because it is so weird. Because like my first GPA, I was like so afraid to talk to people, Venya. Like
your seventh grade GPA?
my eighth grade GPA. I was
Your
gonna go
eighth grade
seventh grade.
GPA was your first one?
Yeah.
I can tell. You looked like you were comfortable, but if you felt nervous and you were able to be that confident, kudos to you.
Thank you. But
Kudos to
like
you,
my seven,
girl.
I wanted to do seventh grade GPA. I chickened out.
Oh,
Um,
it's
I
okay.
was yeah, because I knew no, I could see like Sala and Kareem are from my county. Like I knew them and I was friends with them, but it's not like they were gonna be in my cabin. And I didn't know the girls that were gonna be in my cabin, and that was the year that it was in the summer.
Oh, I like
Hmm.
that DPA though. It felt like it was a state council, but
Hmm.
you were competing. It was very different.
Wasn't that the year that you got on district board for senior
Oh
board?
yeah, that was the year I got into district board too.
Yeah.
But so it's funny though, because junior board was like normal. District board
Mhm.
I got elected in the summer. State board I also got elected in the summer. So I feel like that's so
Hello
super
again.
cool. Yeah, me either.
I don't. It scared me. I was like, oh God.
No, it made me giggle. That's okay.
All right. So I don't fully remember what we're talking about, but this kind of talking about DPA and being on district board kind of ties into my next question. And it's were you on junior and senior Northwest District Board? Which?
Yes, I was. So, a funny story. My seventh grade year, because for junior board, you have to run in seventh grade and then you serve your eighth grade year. So, that was the very first time I think that I'd ever, yeah, I think that was the first time I ran for a 4-H election. I can't remember if I had anything in my county. So, the first time I ran in a 4-H election, and I had my board and everything, and I had my speech printed out. And they had the main assembly, like the opening assembly for DPA, and then juniors are dismissed, right? So at the opening assembly, I had my thing, and then I lost my little script, like the thing that I had everything. And seventh grade me was hysterical. Like I obviously like I wasn't breaking down because I didn't want to
Oh,
like look a mess before my thing. I
yeah.
couldn't find it and I was searching all over the auditorium for it. So I went into my junior board election room and I just said like whatever came to mind, like that sounded inspirational and like leadership like, and whatever I
Yeah.
could remember from my script. Because I wrote it. So of course I remembered some of it, but
Mhm.
I didn't remember like, because I was doing like an analogy, I think, or something. I don't
Mhm.
know. This is 5 years ago, so you'll have to forgive me. But
You're good.
so I was doing an analogy, and whatever I remembered, I said it, and whatever I didn't say it.
Mhm.
So then you flash forward to Sunday, which is I got elected and was like going to get installed, and Mr. Ricky, who's the board advisor for junior board, the board
Mhm.
district advisor for Northwest, he comes in and he's like, "Oh, is this anyone's paper?" And then it's my script that I lost in the auditorium. 2 days later, I don't
Two
need it
days later.
anymore, but it's still in that little like it was still in the plastic sleeve I'd had it in. So, because it was raining, I think it was like,
Mhm.
damn, it's the plastic sleeve. It had like my little county and stuff like on the inside.
Mhm.
And I was like, oh, that's my script. I don't need it anymore. And I could not stop laughing. But yeah, 2 nights ago, I was like in near tears. I went on there and I said what came to mind, and it worked out.
It worked out. You got on.
Yes, that's all that mattered to me.
So what is most different? So you've served on junior board, which your board term was 19 to 20, am I right?
Yes, yes, it
And
was.
then your
Proud of
senior
that's so cool you remember. I forget sometimes.
I always remember because you and Hannah were on junior board together.
Yes,
And
we
then
were.
but your junior board term was also my friend Sala's senior board term.
Yes, that's actually how I know him.
Mhm.
Because he was a senior board member and I was a junior board member. And then it was the break year when he served on state board. So,
Mhm.
fun fact.
Yeah. I that's really how personally how I feel like I've gotten to like know you is because I remember bringing you up to like it was Sala and we were just talking about and I remember this was like a year ago and he was like, oh yeah, she was like my board baby, like she was my junior board. I was like, oh okay, okay.
feel like I was such a different person back then, though. I definitely was like really into my show because I
Mhm,
had officially like gone into 4-H in sixth grade. So by the time seventh grade came around, I was like kind of out of it, kind of like, nervous about
mhm.
what other people would think. Like, oh, I don't know if they'd like me or not. And then,
Which
of
they
course,
all love
as I've
you.
gone, because now I know that no one's like out to get me. There's no such thing. Like, it's all going to be okay. Just
Everyone I've
stay
talked to
yourself.
everyone I've talked to is like, "Oh, Venya, oh, I love her." She like, nothing but positive from everyone.
Where it's just full of a bunch of little sweethearts. That's why. All my favorites. But anyways, so 7th grade me needed to know that, but she didn't know that. So that's why she
Mhm.
was so like nervous and into her shell. But I feel like junior board definitely like made me a little more extroverted. Like just serving and like getting up to speak at assemblies in front of like a group of people. I
Yeah,
feel like that definitely helped me.
I can imagine.
Yes. It was a key developmental experience.
My first, like, away 4-H event, like, overnight was actually summer camp in 7th grade, which was last summer.
Wow.
Because see, okay, I joined 4-H when I was 6 years old. Okay.
Really?
But it was just my county's homeschool club. I was like kindergarten to like first grade. I was there, and then they didn't really have anything until you were in fifth grade in my county, which now we have something for everybody. But then I left and I joined back in at fifth grade, and I just did my county's homeschool club, which is actually how I met like Saul and Kareem and like some of my greatest friends now. Um, and then I was in my county's cooking club, and then in sixth grade, sixth, was it seventh grade? Okay. Everything's a blur. It was sixth or seventh
The
grade.
years get mushed together for sure.
Mhm.
And I'm not even that old, I don't say. So,
It was sixth grade when COVID hit because I
yeah.
turned 12 a week before. That's what it was. It was throwing me off. So sixth grade, I didn't really have much of a 4-H anything. We did a bunch of Zoom calls, but like that's kind of it. And then in seventh grade, I did judging teams, which was a lot of fun. Wildlife judging, placing second junior. That was my first 4-H medal. That was like one of the happiest moments of my little seventh grade self. Like, and then eighth grade rolls around, and I did day at the Capitol. I've done DPA. I went to like 3 weeks of like I did 2 weeks of camp, student council, ambassadorship, and now being like eighth grade and seventh grade me were so like nervous to go to stuff, and now I'm just like, oh, Rock Eagle, it's like my home.
It's all
Like,
people who already are rooting for you.
and
That's what we all needed to know at
yeah,
our very first 4-H event.
because I was so scared. I was like, oh my god, wait, all these kids are like older than me. All these kids are older than me because all of my friends have been seniors.
I
I
think we're all
only have
senior
two
4-H.
friends who are younger than me at this very moment in time. And one of them is in my grade, just couple months younger than me, and then one is a grade below me. And it is so insane because of 4-H, I have friends who are in college right now. Like Bella. It's
Yeah,
so crazy to me.
I wouldn't have expected it either, but
Either.
here we are. But it's
Here
good.
we are.
I feel like knowing people who are outside of your age group because then you have someone to like kind of fall back on, like give you advice, which is really, really helpful for sure.
It is. I have tapped into that quite a lot the past year.
Yes.
Yeah. And now this DPA rolling around. It's my first senior DPA. So I'm a little stressed about it, but more than anything I'm looking forward to seeing everybody.
That's good. Yeah, don't be I know it's like easy to say don't be stressed, but as someone who's been in your position before,
Yeah.
I was nervous for nothing.
Mhm.
Freshman DPA was actually no. Oh yeah, that was the summer DPA. So I
Mhm.
guess it's not going to be like the overnight thing. But you've already got the overnight part down, girl. You don't need to worry. Um, it really wasn't that bad. Like, yes, you're competing against people who are a couple years older than you, but
Mhm.
they know like they know just as much about their specific project in your area as you do about yours. So just go up there, say what you practice, and if you mess up, no one's gonna know but you. And
Yeah.
maybe the couple of people who are there who are like your parents, or not your parents, but like your friends and stuff who've seen you
Yeah.
practice. They're not your judges and they won't care. So
Yeah. But no, I'm really looking forward to it this year. I don't know. There's like a little part of me that's like stressed, but then the rest of it is just like I did this last year. The only difference is state. That's the only difference.
And you're presenting as the same thing as you've done in middle
Mhm.
school. The different part is state congress, which isn't at this DPA, and the portfolio, which you've already gotten out of the way before this DPA anyways.
Yeah.
So just treat it like you've always been treating it. You'll do great.
Yeah.
You will do
I
fine.
love that. I love that advice. Okay, so we have two more things to tap on before we call it a day. And this is um the whole part of the show, which is what do you geek about? Ooh, what do you geek out about, Benya?
Oh, so I geek out a lot about biology. Think a couple I've already told a couple people, but
Mhm,
I'm really like a biology person. Like I like everything about it. I know it's a very diverse field. Like they have so many possible things like to discuss. There's so many topics and disciplines in biology, which is why I'm so into it because you can do like literally whatever. Like for example, someone could be a biology major in college, and if they want to go to grad school to like get a PhD if they're interested, they don't even have to narrow it down until a couple years into their major, when
mhm.
they've gained knowledge. And it's diversity is why I'm so into it. And also just because like there's cute little things like little bacteria and animals. And of course, DNA and genetics is really interesting and
It
fascinating.
is.
But it's so much, which is why I'm so into it. Like it's a very flexible, diverse field for sure.
It is. It's extremely diverse, and it is an extremely interesting field. I will have to admit.
Yes. And I
Do
think that
you?
I got into it after I took my very first biology class at school. And so
Mhm,
it's the equivalent of honors biology because I'm in a magnet school. We call honors biology magnet biology, but it's the
okay.
same thing. And so we learned about so many things. And because we have block schedule, it was in the span of half of a year. So we learned about like different things. So evolution, and then we were like all down to the microscopic scale with like prokaryotes and eukaryotes and what each type of organelle in the cell does and how like the applications can be done. So DNA and gel electrophoresis. And I was fascinated and I've just stuck to it ever since. So
It's really such a cool topic. Like, there's so much to like learn about and explore.
yes, I adore it so, so much. So, so much.
And I love that. I just got to learn a new fact about you, Venya. All right. So, one fun thing. This is the first episode that I've done this on, and
Mhm.
it's on my Instagram story. I asked my audience if they had questions for you.
Ooh.
So you're the first person that I've actually had people submit questions
Oh, okay.
for. So
Exciting.
I'm excited because I like personally when I listen to stuff, I like, it's cool to like submit your own question for the person to answer.
It's interactive. That's a really nice
That's
idea.
the word that I was looking
And I don't
for.
even know what the questions are, so I'm excited to see what people are asking me.
All right, so from Ruby, did you have any hardships with running for state board?
Running for state board, I feel like the only hardship I had actually was like the technical difficulty. A lot of people who were there will probably tell you, but
Mhm.
when I was running, um, there I had like a soundtrack. So my whole thing was like vibe with Venya, and the vibe was like music. So like you vibe to music and stuff.
Yeah,
So I was making a parody to a song called Classic by MKTO. It's like this really upbeat song. It always puts a smile on my face, and I feel like it's just like the nature of it and the lyrics are so good,
it's just a
anyone
good
will start
song.
smiling. Yeah, I
Exactly.
absolutely love it. And so I made a parody to that. And I think that I don't have it remembered anymore, but I practiced it every day for the whole month of June, so I'd have it memorized for my thing. So I did the parody. I went onto stage, and the first part's like a little drum roll, and they have like a hey, here's the drums. So that part was done, and then it just stopped. Like
I remember
I,
that.
I think that's all that I remember of the music playing. So it stopped, and I just went on with my thing. But
And
in
it
my
turned out
mind,
being amazing.
yeah, but in my mind, like on stage, I was like, the music was like, I feel the most attractive thing of my thing, like the most appealing thing. Like,
Mhm.
oh, this is the song everyone likes. And when I wasn't there, I was just like, "Oh, okay. Now I'll just have to go, like, and do it with just with the lyrics, what I have planned out." I did it, and sitting back down, like, in the first row, 'cause you're sitting on this side of the stage, you go up and you do your thing, and then you come and sit back around here. So I
Mhm.
was sitting over here, and, like, a couple other people had gone before me, cause I think that they randomized it, and I was the 3rd person or 4th person to go, so
So
not a
yeah.
lot of people had done their things yet. So I went, and I was just sitting there, like, in reflection, like, "Wow, I just did that," and I was not expecting that to happen. So it wasn't a hardship at all. I feel like it definitely a lot of people told me that it actually helped me because I didn't even have to show the audience, but they said that it came across as I was confident and like I
You
knew
did.
what to do, even in improv. I wasn't even thinking of it like that. I was just like, I'm gonna go on there and I have it practiced. It'll be just like the same thing, but I forgot to upload it to my phone and give it to them. I'm just gonna pretend like it's this.
Yeah.
I got this.
It
So
was
I
it
did
was
that.
so perfect. Like, it worked out it ended up working out so well.
Yeah, I'm still so grateful. Like that it happened, but
Mhm.
at that point, I was, like, confused, like, "What am I gonna do on stage?" But apparently it worked in my favor, so, um, yeah, that's only hardship, though. Everyone at state council was so nice. I met a lot of my friends at state council. Like,
Mhm.
I'm more of an introvert, I'd say, like,
Me
so
too.
I can be extroverted, but I'm more of an introvert, like, in most social settings. That's probably just because 'cause I'm so tired and stuff, like, from school,
Yeah.
and the weekends are, like, my recharge time. But over the summer, I'm, like, more outgoing and, like, I have energy. I feel like I'm a completely different person in the summer. But so that was, like, that's, like, my extrovert time, or maybe ambivert, because 'cause I'm still yeah. So that definitely worked in my favor. Like, I wasn't afraid
Mhm.
to approach people, and for anyone who's running, like I know this is a little straying from the question. For anyone who's running and you want advice for a state board, here's my free advice to you. Don't be afraid to like walk up to people because you don't really know who's a voting delegate or who's not a voting delegate, but you need to have a conversation with them. Like, I think that someone was asking me for advice. I can't remember
Mhm.
who it was. Someone was asking me for advice, and this is what I told them. I was like, you're gonna go up to them and just have a conversation, like, about anything. And you're just meeting new people. You're not gonna sound fake if you ask them to vote for you, because if they're a voting delegate, that's their job. They need to listen to
Exactly.
people, because they're not gonna vote for you if you don't go out of your way to maintain a conversation with them, right?
Mhm.
So, in terms of hardships, maybe that was a hardship actually, because when I was running, like, before everything started, because you could officially start at 4 p.m., it was like a rule. If you start
I remember
campaigning
that.
even at 3:59, then you're not allowed to. So
Mhm.
in the car, like, I was sitting, because my parents were there, because they had to drop me off for Dean's Award, me and my sister, and then they were leaving. I wasn't there with my county. So I was sitting in their car, and I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna go up to people and tell them to vote for me. I'm not gonna sound greedy. I'm gonna be genuine because that's what I want to be. I am gonna be
Exactly.
genuine. I'm just gonna talk to them. If they vote for me, fine. If they don't vote for me, I still have a new friend."
Exactly.
So I think it's a win-win situation either way. But I just kept that in my mind the whole weekend, and it worked out.
It did
So
work out. And I think that's an amazing piece of advice. Coming from somebody who has not run for board, I will say, um, when people like go out of their way to like make a conversation with you, that is the people you will remember at the polls more. Um, like, if say if somebody didn't come up to you and like made their slogan memorable, like, how do I wear this? Like, if somebody come up to you and wasn't, like, making conversation and was just kinda like, "Oh, here's my slogan." I'll remember you, but it's more memorable if you, like, strike a conversation, if you approach the person, stuff like that, and though most of the people that came up to me at DPA I was not eligible to vote for them because I was a junior, but I am a senior now, I still I'm friends with most of them now. Um, and same with the state board members. I was eligible to vote for them, and, and I did, and I remember my favorites, which,
yeah, like it works out either way. No one's like actively out to get you. Like they're not going to be
Mhm.
judging you as you come up to them and talk to them about whatever topic you want to talk about. I promise you.
Yeah.
No one is like that.
Alright, so my next question is from Jovi. and it is, what is the best part of being on state board?
Ooh, I think I answered this at the beginning kind of, where I
Mhm,
said it was the people, like just the position has helped me know who I'm representing.
mhm,
I'd also say the next best part is also getting to meet like different people because through my position on state board, I've met like people who were kind of into what I want to do because I want to do bioengineering like professionally.
mhm,
And so I've met people who are like maybe they're into biology or they're engineers, but they're still like somehow related to the 4-H program. So maybe they donate or they were past like state board members or past state presidents or something like that. And so I can go to them and ask them for advice, but it's also cool to know like we have that little similarity, even though we're at different points in our lives. And so, like, the vast diversity of the people that I've ended up meeting, like at meetings or just banquets and stuff,
mhm.
it's definitely worth it because
Yeah,
they have so many different life stories, and it's really fascinating to learn from them and get advice from them on what I can do in the future. So yes.
I
Thank you
think
for
that
the question.
I love that answer. I think I think the leadership is also, like, getting to how do I word this? Having the leadership role is also great, and, like, the public speaking is also just a great quality to have.
Yes.
Again, coming from someone who's never been on board.
No, you're completely right. Cause like, even now, like, through the
Mhm,
speaking roles that I have at, like,
mhm,
assemblies or whatever events there are, I am still growing as a public speaker
mhm.
so many years after I joined 4-H, so it's never too late to learn anything new, for
Yeah.
sure.
Alright, my next question is from Caroline, and it is, "What are you most excited to see in Georgia 4-H for 2023?"
I am most excited to see how the 4-H program will grow with our new state 4-H leader, Miss Melanie Byersmith.
Yes.
I've known her for a while. I think I met her while I was on district board,
Mhm,
or maybe junior board actually. No, I think it was senior board. So that was when I officially met her. And I've known her for a little bit, and she's just been like a real sweetheart. And of course, after she got state 4-H leader, she was selected. I'm excited to see how she will do because the state 4-H officers, we work like really closely with the state 4-H leader. So of course the changes she makes are going to be beneficial for the program, but we also get to learn and grow with her, which is really exciting this 2023.
I'm very excited because for the past I don't even know how long, we've had Mr. Arch,
Yeah.
and he retired back in August, and I'm excited to see how Miss Melanie's gonna do.
Our board advisors are telling us like we get the best of both. We had Mr. Arch for a state officer training and like kind of to bid us goodbye, and maybe even for like a little bit of August. And then we had Miss Melanie for the rest of the year. So we kind of got a taste of both, which is really good.
That's
And so I'm
awesome.
really grateful that we were the board that got to do that.
Which
Very,
I
very.
think that is just that is that is something that not, like, a lot of people get to experience and, like, say that they got to do.
Yes, certainly.
Alright, this question is from Morgan, and I also this is also a question for me, and Morgan wants to know, "Why are you so perfect, Venya?"
So sweet. I'm definitely not perfect. I don't try to be perfect either, because that
Mhm,
definitely puts you down a negative rabbit hole. And I don't think anyone can ever be perfect, because if you are perfect, then you're just missing like what areas you can grow, like how you can be better. But
mhm,
the reason I guess the way that I am perfect to you might be I've definitely started prioritizing myself, like my mental health and self-care a lot more this past year,
mhm.
which has helped me grow significantly. It's not like I wasn't prioritizing it before, don't get me wrong. Like I wasn't just like all drilled into like extracurricular activities and like
Yeah.
people and stuff. I was still prioritizing it, but I kind of like I don't even know how it started, but I was like more into like giving myself personal time and like a break from stuff. And so that's just been a great time for me to like reflect. Like I really like journaling now, and it's a great place for me to just empty out my thoughts and learn more about myself. As weird as that sounds, but
No, I that's so great. Like, I think taking a break and focusing on your mental health is extremely important. Your mental health is as important as is as important as your physical health, as, you know,
For
it's
sure,
just as
yes.
important.
It is never too early to learn the importance of that, yes.
Mhm.
So, I feel like I'm not perfect, I'm definitely not perfect. There's so many different ways where I can grow and learn and improve, but the biggest change I feel like that's helped me grow into someone who's more like I'd wanna be is that,
Yeah.
prioritizing your mental health, self-care, giving yourself you time,
Mhm.
for sure.
All right, our next question is also from Morgan, and it says, how do you plan to use your leadership experience in your future career?"
So, this leadership experience, I think I was mentioning it earlier, you gain like so much from this, so much knowledge, so many connections, so many, it's like a whole support system
Mhm.
from this, from all of my leadership experiences. And in any future endeavors, like I said, I've met people who were interested in the field that I want to pursue, who are currently actively having jobs in that field. So I can use that in my future endeavors. So I may be asking them, hey, I'm applying for like this internship. Do you have any advice for interviews for like research purposes or something like that? And I can also, in any job, really, there's some degree of leadership to it. Like
Mhm.
you're going to need to know how to manage and interact with people in a way that's respectful, but still effective to help get across your point. And
Yeah.
so this leadership position, I feel like is perfect for that because I'm interacting with so many people. And I also learn like how to make meaningful interactions.
Mhm.
So very, very relevant. That definitely I feel like is something I'll take with me in any career, in any future endeavor.
I think that is just so great because you still need leadership whether you're working at like if you work at Chick-fil-A versus even if you're a lawyer, you still need some level of leadership.
Certainly, yeah. Like any sort of anything you do has some degree of leadership for sure, like you said.
Mhm.
I can't even imagine a scenario without it. You're always going to
Me
need to
neither.
be around people. And
Exactly.
so, if you're going to need to be around people, then you have to learn how to interact with them, how to step up and take responsibility if no one
Mhm.
else is.
Exactly. Exactly. All right, this question comes from Ella, and it is, what keeps you motivated?
I feel like my faith, my religion definitely is a big factor in what motivates me.
Mhm.
And I'm also very motivated by the goals I've set forth for myself. And so I'm obviously not like in a mindset where I have to achieve this goal, I have to do this, I have to do that. It's definitely not like that. It's more like I want to achieve this goal because it'll give me something to pursue and to look forward to. And even if I don't achieve that goal, I'll still gain something out of it. Maybe
Yeah.
I'll develop my persistence or my stamina, my diligence. I'll still gain any something out of it. And just remembering that even if I don't achieve a goal or if I do achieve a goal is what makes me want to pursue more or makes me want to work for something. And I also like in my free time, I enjoy like going around the community and volunteering and stuff. And so I get to learn about other people's needs through that and how I can hopefully someday pursue a career that will help me address those needs of other people. And so the experiences that I'm having now, I try to have experiences that will help me prepare for a career that will help me help other people.
I think
So
that's so great.
that's
That again, Venya, with the amazing answers again.
thank you.
Um, Kingston asks, any big plans after graduation?
So after I complete my undergrad, I am planning right now, I'm planning on going to grad school to get a PhD.
Mhm.
And I would like to become a professor just because I want to pursue academia in bioengineering and bioinformatics. And
Mhm.
so what that'll help me do is I can teach like college students who are interested in that field, just as interested as I am in biology. I can teach them about how cool it is. And I can
Yeah.
also do research and develop like cures and innovations for people who need like medical related or biology related solutions or even just anything that'll help someone else. I feel like academia is a very sciencey hands-on way to do that.
Mhm.
So those are my plans for after I graduate. And of course like in terms of personal life, I plan on of course like staying close with my sister because
Mhm.
she's always been a big part of my life. And I hope that we can like continue to live close to each other because I feel like that would be pretty cool. But I do want to travel like the world, or
That'd
like
be
at
so
least
cool.
once to every continent. I don't know if it's feasible just because of the amount of time it would take to travel to every country. But I
Mhm,
do want to travel to every continent. That's a
mhm.
goal of mine, a bucket list goal.
That
And
is a great goal to have.
it's cool, isn't it? Because
It
there's so many
is.
different cultures, so many different people who I haven't even like introduced myself to, and just
Exactly.
like putting myself in that environment is just an experience that'll help me learn so much. Fascinating. So
It is so cool to think about.
it's been a goal of mine for a long time. So it used to be every country, and then I realized like the amount of time it just takes to sit on a plane ride. Like plane rides can be longer than
Mhm,
the actual like amount of time you're staying in a city, especially if it's a connector flight. So
exactly.
I changed it a little bit. So that's like a personal goal, if you will.
That is such a great goal to have, I think. Traveling is such a cool thing to get to do, and I think
It's
it'd be
fun
great
and
to
you learn.
travel out of the country, you know?
Yes, I hope to. I feel like traveling out of the country is like a really big endeavor though, for sure.
Mhm.
So,
Alright, here is our last question for the day. This is from Shaylin, and she asks, what influenced you the most growing up?"
I feel like my parents definitely influenced me the most. So for most of like my early like when I was really little, we moved around a lot because of my dad's job. And so I never like I wasn't ever like specifically in one state. Like we'd be in I lived in several states growing up. So I didn't really have like a friend group or like a very large social circle just because of
Mhm,
how versatile my life was. And so they were like the one thing that was always there, and they always have been the one thing that's always been there. Like I can confide in them anything, can go to them for advice. They're always just supporting me. And it's been like really clear that they always want to see me grow and they're always there to help me. So they've definitely been the thing that's influenced me the most,
mhm,
and they've taught me about, like, right and wrong, of course, which
of
as any
course.
parent should do, but they've also taught me the importance of helping others and
Mhm,
not just, like, having, like, a tunnel vision mindset for, like, myself. So this is what I want to do. This is what I'm gonna do after so and so.
yeah.
Definitely, other people are very, very important to your life. You will sooner or later realize, anyone who is watching this. So prioritize other people too, helping
Mhm.
other people and making a difference.
That is just I fully agree, like, wholeheartedly, I fully agree. Um,
Yes.
but yeah, I mean, that like, my parents have always been there for me, and I too would like to stay close with my sister as much as possible. She's young right now. She's
How
7.
old is she?
She's
Aw,
7. There's a
that is
7-year
very
age gap between us. So in March,
really?
her birthday's actually the Friday of DPA.
Really? And your birthday is the day after, right?
Mhm, the Sunday or that Monday, yeah.
Wow. Your
Yeah.
birthdays are so close. Have you ever done like a joint celebration like right in
Mhm,
the middle? You have?
mhm. Yeah,
I've
so
always thought about doing that. If, like I had a birthday that was really close with someone else. That
mhm.
is really cool.
I think it was when I turned 11. It was the year
Wow.
before COVID, whenever that was. It was 2019. Uh, and what was it? My sister, was turning 4, and we split the house up so we could each have our own theme, but it was just so, like, I am a huge Harry Potter fan, like, mega Harry Potter fan, so I had, like, the floating candles on the ceiling, and so, like, that was, like, my theme, and then hers was, like, Fancy Nancy type theme, and it was a lot of fun.
That is
Um
such a cute idea. Wow.
Yeah,
I love that.
it was a lot of fun. But no, joint parties are fun, I will say.
I've personally never had the opportunity to do it with someone. Like I said, I'm
Mhm.
only 16, so it's not like I've lived like an incredibly large amount of time. But
Yeah,
I haven't really met anyone whose birthday is like so close. But like I have a couple people in 4-H, but I already see them at state council. So of
yeah.
course we have like a joint celebration already. And so my birthday's like always been really close to state council. So I feel like I either celebrate before or after. It's never like an on the day celebration,
That's
which
the
is
same with
good.
me.
because on the day I'm celebrating with like friends from 4-H, and after I
Exactly.
can celebrate with like my family and other friends who are not in 4-H. So
Mhm.
it works out.
Yeah, mine's always right around DPA. So like this past year it was like 5 days after my birthday. So like me and my kind of like celebrated at DPA. Like literally I was almost in tears. They like my agent like brought a cake. There's like this whole video. It was actually like the 4-H friends like slideshow somebody submitted.
Really?
But yeah. But yeah, it was so yeah, like your birthday's all around state council, and my birthday's like it's fun having it around a 4-H event because like you get to see your friends too.
4-H event birthday supremacy for sure.
True. That is so true.
Like this year, it wasn't on state council, of course. I don't think my birthday's been on a weekend for a while. Like it's gonna be on a Saturday in 2024, which is after I've graduated high school. But
Oh,
anyways,
don't say
so
that.
I
Dude,
know,
2024. I was thinking about it the other day because you're graduating in 2024. I don't graduate till 26.
right?
Yeah. So like by the time you graduate, I might have my driver's license.
I
Like
still don't have mine. I want mine, but I still don't have mine. So chances are you'll probably have yours before I do.
no, I doubt that. My goal is to get my permit like right after DPA. That is my goal. We'll see if that happens, but
That's good. That's good. Way to go for prioritizing life goals for
like
sure.
so Benya, I just wanted to I'm gonna do my little I do that. I just really wanted to say thank you for being here today.
I'm
With the
so
different
happy you invited me. This is like a highlight of my week for sure. I'm doing this thing where like I have like little slips of paper. I saw it like online. And so you have a little slip of paper and you write down a favorite memory from each day. And
Mhm.
I already wrote today's slip and it says, hold up. I'm trying to pull it up so you can see it. It says recorded an episode of Leslie's podcast. I have that as
Oh,
my highlight for today. Like this
that
was
is
just
so
a wonderful
sweet.
experience. Yes. I'm gonna open it up on December 31st this year, and I'm gonna read all of them, and this will be today's highlight. So
Oh, that's so sweet. No, I tried to do that a couple years ago. I forgot.
I'm hoping I don't forget, because if I do, then 2024 will be my last one. But
Hmm.
I'll already have graduated and I'll be in college, and I don't think I'll remember then either. So
Yeah.
2023 is the year that I'm gonna do it. Finally, I have
Yes.
my two.
You have your two. So, thank you everybody so much for listening or watching. Thank you so much, Benya, for being here with me today. Honestly, this has just been so great. Thank you for being here through the technical difficulties and the having to restart the Zoom meeting because it timed out.
No.
Um,
I'm happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me. That's what's most important. Like, I've never done anything. I never thought I'd be on a podcast. Like, that just feels so cool. Like, I was featured on a podcast, man. That's impressive. But you made that come true for me. So thank you. Thank you.
I got my dream picture. The state board president of 4-H was on my podcast.
Gladly, no. I promise you, I would do this in a heartbeat again, for sure.
Well, thank you. Um, but yeah, thank you all so much for tuning in, and I will see everybody next week. Bye, guys.